Hello everyone. I wanted to give you another video on the loops project. This time kind of going more into what the full project should look like, and I'll give you a few examples. So we talked a little bit about just importing loops in general, so like a little review there. You can click on the bottom here on the loops button. You can find different genres, different instruments, different genres. You can go up into the packs, which have something. It's maybe a producer who makes all the different loops, or they have just a signature style. You can also go into the kind of like the popular tab here, and you can kind of do a same thing where you have different styles or different packs that have a different feel or different sounds. Use the same instruments. So there's different things you can do there. Um, I talked about how bringing just all the instruments all at the same time just doesn't really work a lot. And one example of this is, if you just start everything. And especially if you just repeat that section over and over, it's going to get really old really fast. It's just not exciting. It may be exciting for the first, the first loop, the first time that you play it, but after a while, it's going to get very repetitive, and there's nothing new, and you get bored. So it's not something we want to do as musicians. So I've extended these loops, and what I'm going to do is I arrange them in a specific order, so that you play them one by one, and it starts with one instrument and then adds a second one, adds a third one. I'll actually move this up so you can see it a little better. It starts with drums, then adds the piano, then the bass, and then the guitar melody, and then some strings. So it's building and building complexity, but every few seconds, every two measures, you add a new element, a new musical element, which keeps the song or just the track from becoming dull. So to give you that example. So I'm going to turn this off. So you can see how I developed that over the course of the 16 measures by adding the different loops and different instruments. So that is the beginning section. And because I have the main melody, right? You have the piano and then the bass. Even though, you have this section which only has 3 instruments, and this section introduces 2 more instruments, it's still the same idea. You're not really changing it, you're just adding onto it. So for that reason, we call this section A, or A1, and this would be the A2, because it's still that same idea, what is A. And then the next thing we're going to do is the next 8 measures, we're going to leave blank, right? This section right here, that's going to be a new section. We're not ready for that yet. But this section we're going to complete. You can see I already made a copy of this and the piano, and then I'm going to make a copy of this. And what I'm doing to make a copy is I'm holding down, and I'll delete this. I'm holding down Alt, hold down Alt, and then you just click and drag, and it makes a copy. And then, of course, if you put this over here, you'll notice that it's a little too long, so you need to shorten this to make sure that this all lines up. Same thing here. Another thing you can do is you can right-click and copy. And then when you paste, you'll just need to move it over so that it lines up. And the same thing here. I'm going to copy and then paste. And another thing you can do is Control Control C, and then Control V, and it will make a new copy. Again, Control is it over here? Control V, and you can see it makes a copy. You can move that. You can also, these are extras, so I'm just going to delete that, and I'm just going to place this right at the end. So now if we look at this, we have section A, where it introduces the instruments, right? This is the first section. Section A1, where you have your main melody, you have all of your instruments present now. This is going to be a section B, which is all new material, and then section A2, which is going to be your completion, right? So it's an AABA form, and let me just pull that up. So as you can see here, I have basically the completed section, and I just need the new section B. And then remember to click Save. And then I'll give you one more example. Our next step is going to be to complete section B, which I did in this project. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So here you can see that I have the 8-measure phrase, again, introducing the instruments. And I have a little sound effects over here. And then I have section A1, which has all of my instruments present. And then I have section B, and I just put them down here so you can see that it's different. And then section A2, which is going to be the same as this. And another way to show that is I gave you the screenshot over here. So again, A measures 1 to 8, where you introduce the instruments. A1, where you have 9 to 16, you have all of the instruments. Section B is all new. And then section A2 is the repeat of section A. And here I muted all of these, but you can kind of get the idea for what's happening anyway. Let's turn this off. And that's the end. So there's a couple minor things that we'll talk about over the next few days, but in terms of the actual format of the project, the form of the project, you have the AABA form. Again, A, B, and A at the end. And there's a couple things that we'll add to make it sound a little more exciting, but I hope you heard some of this, if you just solo this section just on its own. So in that context, it's fun. And you just add some sound effects, which I encourage you to do. And together with this, it actually sounds really cool. So that's a little short video here. Again, talking about the different sections of your loops project.